because when you look at the photograph of him, you see me. And the first time I saw fellows, tears ran because I'm looking at myself. My great-great-grandfather in 1856, like Frederick Douglass, he fought the slave breaker because they were treating him like he was a horse. And he overcame the slave breaker. Well, Daniel White, the owner, the next day hires a slave breaker who was meaner than the first man. So Addison knew that if he did not run, he would be killed. And he made his journey from a place called Fleming County, Kentucky. Fleming County, Kentucky, 18 miles to Maysville, and then 9 more miles down to Ripley. Swam the Ohio River, made his way up to a little town called Mechanicsburg, Ohio, right outside of Columbus, Ohio. And in 1857, the next year, the slave owner Daniel White comes looking for him. He had 10 U.S. Marshals with him. This was a part of the fugitive slave law that said that a slave catcher could pursue his property or her property anywhere in the United States. With that, Addison is hiding in the attic of a home. And this one marshal, Deputy Elliott, goes up with his rifle to bring my great-great-grandfather out. He's armed. My great-great-grandfather is armed with a rifle. He has an axe. He has a big knife. He said, I'm not going back. So when he saw this deputy, he let fly a shot for his freedom. He grazed the deputy. The deputy thought he was a dead man. He fell from the ladder on the floor, and Sister Peggy is an ordained minister, you all. Sister Peggy, they tell me he was even cussing. He was saying the wordy dirts. And about that time, a commotion arose outside of the house. 100 white citizens had come out to the country, surrounded the house, dared the U.S. Marshals to touch my great-great-grandfather or the conductor, a man by the name of Uddy Hyde. They got Addison out all the way to Canada, and he stayed there about 3 years. But 4 of the men were arrested by the U.S. Marshals for helping him. With that, the local sheriff pursued the U.S. Marshals because they didn't have a warrant for these men's arrest. Well, the marshal shot the sheriff. He did not kill the deputy. I shot the sheriff. With that, the sheriff dies of his injuries. A neighboring sheriff then pursues the United States Marshals. Check this out. They catch up with them. They arrested the United States Marshals. That was the first time in the history of this country when one law enforcement agency arrested another one. And that's why they called Addison, Ohio, so famous. With that, those 4 men were able to get out of jail. They had paid $950. Back in 1857, that's about $20,000 today. The money that was involved on the slave trade ran into the billions. If you had $200,000, you could build a slave ship. One trip to Africa and back, you cleared a profit of $600,000 back in the day. And one of the artifacts I have that y'all couldn't read was a deposition from a slave catcher. He said,